Hey guys, this is Reverend Sean over at the Center Path, and don't forget to get your cheat sheet out, because we're going to go over some more parts of the 5 hindrances. We're going to do the second part, which is ill will, aversion, and anger. Oh, and hatred too. Okay, so one of the things with this second of the 5 hindrances is ill will, anger, hatred. It's called enmity, actually is what it's called. Now, when we're having those sensations and those feelings, it is going to hinder us. These are called the 5 hindrances. It's going to hinder us on our path to liberation. Or liberation from what? Liberation from suffering. Liberation actually from ill will, hatred, anger, and enmity. And what we want to do is, in our process, if we give too much attention or too much power to anger and hatred, they can engulf us. It's like a fire. You give it too much fuel, it'll take over and burn everything up. That's the same kind of concept we see, especially with anger and enmity, ill will, all of those things. It's like a fire. Okay, in a fire, if you don't know how to manage it well, you will get burned. And if you don't, but I mean, a little bit of anger can help you. A little bit of anger is useful. A little bit of would you say aversion, kind of like you don't want to do something, I don't want to do that, is actually good for you to observe and to work through. It's not to say that people who practice Buddhism or practice meditation don't have these. If they say they don't, they're lying to you, because I've seen it. I mean, I've practiced with literally thousands of monks over the past 20 years, and have seen them lose their stuff, man. I've seen them freak out. I've seen them become upset. I've seen them cry. I've seen them laugh hysterically. I've seen them be very flustered. But the difference is they get over it real quick. You know, it comes up, it happens, they get over it, they fix it, and it's past tense. And if you're seeing someone who's sitting on a meditation cushion and they're always in placid, wonderful calmness and little smile and all this stuff, that's part of the show. That's not real life. Okay, you think it is, you think they're like that, but as you start digging deeper, you start seeing that there's just not the way it is, and you'll be disappointed, because you're taking out the human aspect, and Buddhism is really humanism, if you think about it, because we're taking our angers and frustrations. Our first one was desire and clinging, right? And we were trying to work on that and see that from the second point, from the outside in, and see it in our minds, and try to work on that on our 6 sense doors. You know, like, how do we desire things or not desire things? This one is like, how do we react when we're upset? If we're feeling ill will, like we're cranky, you know, like one of the things that we can do to offset that is to start doing meditations on compassion. And compassion is learning to care for others and learning to see their plight in things too. When someone is too slow in front of you in line and you get frustrated, that's what we're talking about. Now, that's a very small example, but we have to understand maybe that person is having a lot of pain. And how would we feel if that was our loved grandparent and they were walking slow? We wouldn't be frustrated with them. We'd see ourselves be frustrated with them, and we'd be like, what is wrong with me? Why am I being that way with these people? And so we want to try to develop that same compassion towards others. Okay, you have to think outside the box for this, because people do a lot of dumb things, and they do a lot of things that can be very frustrating. And we have to understand it comes from actually, it comes from many of the same hindrances. It comes from some desire or clinging. It comes from ill will or anger, enmity. It comes from laziness. It comes from restlessness, and it comes from doubt. And doubt is also fear. It comes from fear. You know, all these people's reactions come from these things. If you loving kindness, you know, this will help that go away. You know, that sense of frustration. Compassion will help cruelty disappear. And if we can develop compassion, we see that all things are afraid of pain and death, and they don't want to die. You know, then we can be more compassionate to them, and we can understand their plight and actually change some of our actions to help out the world, because we understand that animals don't want to be taken away from their families just like we don't, that animals don't want to be slaughtered just like we don't. Nobody wants to be killed. This is something we can slowly develop, and we can change some of the ways that we react with things. If we cultivate what's called sympathetic joy, we can also get rid of some of the ill will. Sympathetic joy is when someone else is, my dog is having a dream over there. She's yelping. But as we cultivate sympathetic joy, which is like being happy for people when they do well. So if someone wins, be happy for them, because that means you're going to win too, because you're in association with them. If you're not, you should get in association with them so you know how to win too. And the listlessness will fade, basically. Does that make sense? I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to think. And so we have to look at, like, with this, we have to look if we have jealousy or too much pride, where does that come from? Ill will, anger, frustration, or do we have that resting bitch face all the time? Is it really a part of our personality to be cranky or to portray crankiness? I mean, how is that benefiting us? Many times it's a protection. If we're seen as cruel and mean, then people are less likely to come and bother us. And we don't want to be bothered. We're afraid of them. There's a fear underneath that. So with each one of these, we have to take our practice, look at them as part of a meditation. These are 5 of the hindrances, right? So this one, we're looking at how we feel ill will, anger, resentment, frustration, enmity, any of those kind of things, and then how can we offset that? How can we train ourselves? The more you practice being cranky, the better you'll get at it. So you'll start seeing things that make you cranky all the time. If you practice being happy-go-lucky, and like literally practice it, practice being happy. You don't have to be happy to practice being happy, right? I mean, it's like you don't have to be a pro football player to practice football. You can still run and throw the ball back and forth. You don't have to be a pro football player, but you're practicing. If you practice enough, you may get there. The same kind of thing with anything that you do. The more you practice it, the more you repeat it, the more ingrained it becomes in the brain, and the more it becomes a pattern that your body jumps right into as opposed to avoids. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to see our patterns. Remember, meditation is a process of calming everything down, sitting to become still, becoming still to become calm, becoming calm so that we can see, seeing so that we can start to understand things as they are. As we understand things as they are, we start to develop two things really equally, is wisdom and compassion. And we want to develop those and temper them equally so that we have a good, strong alloy in our personality, and things don't bother us like they used to, or like they do with a person who doesn't do that kind of thing. And people are very reactive. We're very reactive. It's very simple to react. But if you catch yourself ahead of time, as you start to react, you catch it. Wow, I'm reacting to this person who's walking slow in front of me. Then you can actually catch it, beforehand. Before you walk around and elbow them out of the, oh God, you're such a, get in my way. Then you're rude, and then you realize, oh, that person had a bad foot, or that person is very sick, or this person, whatever, they deserved your compassion. You should have, if you knew, you would have been like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Then you have to run away. So it's better to have that beforehand. Anyway, so that's kind of the basics of the second part of the 5 hindrances. So don't forget to go to the website, thecenteredpath.org. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can see the rest of these and more. And stay tuned, stay groovy or whatever, and do your practices. Sit and just watch at first. Next step is to sit and understand. Okay, you'll get it. Later on, you can get into some of the deeper stuff, the esoteric things. Right now, we're just trying to get a control of that monkey mind. Some people call it a yeti mind or a gorilla mind, because it's very violent and very aggressive. And if you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you. And that's the thing with the mind. Okay, this is Rev Sean over at the Centered Path, and I hope you guys are doing well. And do your meditations, do your breath work, man. Breathe. We'll talk to you soon.